welcome to this episode of the Martial Truth Podcast, Zoom classes. All right, before we get into that, please click that like, share, and subscribe button. All right, consider becoming a monthly member. We've passed we're up to 146 monthly members, which is great. Hopefully we'll have some other stuff coming up. I'm posting new video. I've been putting the arrest techniques up that people had requested, and there'll be a lot of other stuff that we filmed while I was in New York. Appreciate everybody that came out for the seminar. Don't forget about the seminar in October in Virginia that Sensei Walt Young is hosting. Look him up on Facebook. You can get the details on his page. All right. Again, as always, can't do it without you guys. Appreciate all of you. Let's talk about Zoom classes. So COVID hits in New York. We had the dojo, the abomination of Andrew Cuomo, our governor, decides he's shutting down all the businesses, right? So after about 3 or 4 days, I'm ready to lose my mind. I decide to go down to the dojo, start training. Luckily, all my adult students said, keep taking the money out. We don't want the school to close. Okay, great. I had a couple of kids that had paid for a year up front. So I decided, hey, I'll do Zoom classes with them. Only one problem is Zoom classes, karate Zoom classes with children don't really work. So I decided to scrap that idea, and I told the parents to bring the children in, and I would do a private with them once a week. And that's what we did. Nobody got COVID. Within a week, we had a small group training every day at the dojo, the guys that were retired. Nobody was wearing masks. Nobody got sick. We opened the school within 2 weeks, and we were up and running, and everything was fine. So keep that in mind for the future when the government tells you to close your business. All right? Yeah, the answer is no. So, and we went on from there and never had any problems. All right? If you're a scared person still wearing a mask, driving around with goggles and gloves on in your car, I feel for you, but some of us choose not to live like sheep. So, fast forward, I moved to Arizona. My one student who had lived in Jersey, but was coming to New York to train in Tai Chi, he says, hey, would you be willing to do video classes? Now, again, I tried it with the kids, didn't really work. So I said, sure, we'll give it a shot. We'll see how it goes. So that started, this coming October will be 6 years. So 6 years I'm doing Zoom classes with this individual. And initially, I started and I'm trying to figure out this type of instruction because it's different from in-person instruction, obviously. But, I came to the conclusion that, if someone wants to train with me and learn one of the arts I teach, and they're not in the same state I'm in or the same country I am, and they want to train, this is the only medium. That's it. Now, in the person's situation who started with me, who's been doing Zoom with me the longest, October will be 6 years, he comes out here once a year, twice a year to Arizona and trains me in person. He was just at the New York workshop, New York seminar a couple of weeks ago. So I do see him for in-person training also. All right. So just something to keep in mind. But some of the people I do Zoom with, they can't come in. It might be in a foreign country. It costs them a lot of money to fly here. They don't have the means, and that's fine. Okay. So initially, again, I was figuring it out. So I wasn't probably a very good instructor via Zoom initially. But again, when I first started teaching martial arts all those years ago, I wasn't a very good instructor either doing that. And that was in person. All right. You have to get the experience. You have to figure it out. So with this new medium, right, Zoom, I started experimenting and figuring out the best way to present the material. So my classes, for the most part, are private one-on-one Zoom classes, all right? And I do a lot of them. On a good week, I'm doing, anywhere from 7 to 12 Zoom classes in a week. Some of them are an hour. Some of them are a half hour. Some people do 2 30-minute sessions a week. Other people do every other week. Some people do once a month. It really depends on the individual. Okay. I'm teaching everything from obviously Chen style Tai Chi Chuan practical method, Ishinru karate, Mariyoshi kobudo, feeding crane kung fu. I'm also teaching even jujitsu, and I've taught the jujitsu swordsmanship via Zoom, and it's worked. I mean, I obviously I'm watching the person do it in front of me, and when they come back the next week or the next month, whenever it is, and I say, okay, let's see how your progress looks, and they do it, and they look pretty good, and I make corrections. So, so some of the real traditional guys would be like, I would never do Zoom classes. I mean, you're not in the room with the person, you really can't correct them. Yeah, well, I got to tell you, you're wrong. And again, if the person has no other options, it's a viable option. I'm giving that person one-on-one instruction. Now, my Tai Chi master, Chen Zhanghua, his approach is a little different than mine. He does group Zoom classes. And if anybody, any of the subscribers or people watching this, if you'd be interested in a group Zoom class covering a subject I teach, I'd be more than happy to do that. But I haven't done a group Zoom class. I've done where I have, I have 2 guys in Oregon that train with me every other week, so they're in the same Zoom class. So there's one where I'm doing more than one person, but normally it's one-on-one. Like I said, either an hour or 30 minutes. Taught numerous kata, have taught the Chen style Tai Chi Chuan practical method form, the Yilu via Zoom. I'm shocked myself at how well people do learning it via Zoom. Now, again, it's a process. You have to be strict. You have to work on them. You have to correct. A lot of times I have people send me video of themselves doing the things, which I, correct. And in the next class, I'll say, okay, we got to work on this, this, and this. So I've kind of figured it out as we go along. The other thing I've noticed with Zoom is because it's me and the other person up on the screen. When I'm demonstrating a technique, whether it be in a form, whatever technique I'm demonstrating, weapons, empty hand makes no difference. I make sure I really watch myself and make sure I'm doing it correctly. So it's been interesting. I think it's improved my own technique because it forces me. I'm like, I can't demonstrate this where the person doesn't see it clear. And, many times I'll demonstrate the technique facing them, then I'll turn around, then I'll go from either side so they can see the technique in all different angles and see how it works. And then the other thing is it's like in a regular class. So I decide to show a technique and a person just can't get it. They can't get the technique. Okay, I can't stay, okay, well, this is their fault. They're trying really hard. So let me take another approach. Let me come from a different angle with this technique. Let me show them another way, and maybe they'll understand it a little better. So I have to improve my teaching. The same exact stuff has happened with Zoom. I'm demonstrating something. Someone's not getting it. They're not seeing it clearly. I figure out how to show it to them so they get it. All right. It's not easy, but again, it's forcing me, I think, to become a better instructor. All right. I have to communicate in a different medium, the same way with this medium, doing these podcasts. I look at my early podcasts and I'm like, oof, right? And again, believe me, I don't think I'm great. I'm not a professional podcaster. I'm a martial arts guy and a former detective. That's what I am. Okay. So, but I've gotten better at speaking in this medium, and I'm constantly trying to improve. I mean, it's not easy, but I'm constantly trying to improve. All right. And sometimes I'm better at it than other times, and that's okay. But again, I equate people's reluctance to have any faith in Zoom classes to some of my traditional martial arts friends who would say, nobody under the 18 deserves a black belt. Then I go to Okinawa and I see people under the age of 18 wearing black belts. Again, well, they're not the same as an adult black belt. Yeah, no kidding. All right. But not every adult black belt's created equal. And a lot of my friends that are traditional martial artists that had these hardcore traditional ideas and would never, ever change Are their schools still open? The answer is no. Okay. Most of them, if they had a commercial dojo like I had in New York, school in New York just celebrated its 40th anniversary. 40 years. Okay. And again, a lot of traditional martial arts guys would stop in the school and they'd say to me, "We don't know how you stay open." Okay, because I've adjusted things. I adjusted how I taught kids classes. I didn't take them as serious as I used to. When those kids get in the adult class, then it becomes serious. But the kids classes, we make more about fun. So we have a lot of kids, they're getting exercise. Okay. So again, I look at Zoom classes in the same way. So initially it started as an experiment, wasn't sure if it would work, wasn't sure if people could improve and advance via Zoom. Like I said, the first person I started doing with, it'll be 6 years this October. He started only practicing Tai Chi Chuan with me. Now he does Mariyoshi Kobudo, and he also does Ishinryu Karate. Okay? I've taught, like I said, most of the arts I train in, I've taught via Zoom. The only one I don't teach via Zoom is Kotori Shinto-ryu. I don't do it as respect to the traditional way of the style being taught. But again, all the other arts, I mean, I think it's important if we want these arts to continue moving forward in relevancy in modern times. I think we have to make changes. And, the founder of Ishinryu, one of his sayings was, all things change. And that's a fact. So the training via Zoom, I think, is a viable way to train people. I have a student in the UK who initially wanted to learn the jiu-jitsu swordsmanship from me. Now, he was already a swordsman in other Ko-Ru styles, so it wasn't difficult, right? And I taught him the sword. He's working on it very good. Then he says, "Hey, would you be willing to teach the jiu-jitsu kata?" So the two-man kata, right, that we have in Sosui Shitsuru Jiu-Jitsu. I said, "Sure, but you'll need a partner." He says, "No, I'll have one." And I said, "Fine." So I had never done that before. So, okay, let's see how this works out. And I told him that. I said, "Listen, this will be a first, so we'll see how it works out." And I was pleasantly surprised. Again, I'm watching them do the technique. They're doing it right. They're getting everything. Every once in a while, he has me check to make sure, all right? And we're slowly progressing through the jiu-jitsu curriculum. So when we're finished, he'll have the sword curriculum and he'll have the jiu-jitsu curriculum. And, it's great because, again, the jiu-jitsu style I teach, there's hardly anyone practicing it. It's teetering on the edge of extinction, all right? And anybody that wants to learn it, I'm more than happy to teach them, okay? So I'm happy, and he's gonna teach it in the UK, and it's great. So same thing with the Chen style Tai Chi Chuan. The Yilu form is a very complicated form to learn. Normally, when someone trains with me in Tai Chi, we go through the whole form. Then we go back and we start again, and then we start layering in all the different principles. And then we go back and do it again and add more principles. And then again, a lot of the people that train in Zoom have made trips out here to the school in Arizona. I have 2 guys coming in 2 weeks. The guy that's been doing it the longest, 6 years. The other guy's been doing it now a couple of years also. He does it twice a week. They're both going to be out here. One for 8 days, 9 days. The other guy will be out here for 4 days. And it's 4 days and 8 days of intense training. We're doing a lot of training out here in the dojo. We're out here all day long. All right. And then those guys will go back. They'll have improved even from the small amount of hands-on. And then we continue with the Zoom. And listen, folks, it's working. All right. Now, does Zoom replace classroom instruction in terms of working with a partner? And of course it doesn't. Come on. Let's be real. But again, let's be honest. If someone is in Ohio and they want to train with me, they can't fly out here once a week. All right. So we do what we can, and then we move forward, whether then by coming here or they go to visit the school in New York or whatever. And it's been great. I mean, Zoom can definitely work if it's done correctly. And again, it's like anything else. If you go in to teach a Zoom class and you think your approach is going to be the same as an in-person class, it's not going to work. So you have to understand that if you start doing Zoom classes, all right, you have to figure out how to teach via Zoom. So it's different. Teaching via Zoom, very different from teaching in person. You have to watch closer. You have to be more observant. You may have to have the person do it from several angles to make sure. That's another thing. Like with teaching forms, sometimes people can't understand the direction I'm going in. So I really got to narrow it down so they understand I'm going to this corner here, right? So, a lot of times they follow me in the form. I turn my back on them. They follow along so they really get the directions clear. So there's a lot you have to figure out, all right? If they weren't working, why would I have all these people doing Zoom? I mean, I've got several people doing Zoom with me now for several years. James Waller, who took over my school in New York, he does them with me. And again, what am I going over with him? Well, we're just constantly reviewing whatever he wants to review. Whether it's he wants me to look at, he'll say, okay, let's for the next few weeks, let's go through all the Mariyoshi kata. I want to make sure like I haven't started doing anything weird. All right, now let's really take a deep dive into the Chen form. Let's do Ishinru karate for a while, or let's do the Ishinru weapons. So again, we're focusing on specific things. So for instructors especially, it's great because they get to still have a link with me, and I can keep their training going. And what do they have? They have questions. They come on and they say, hey, last night this happened in class. Could you explain to me maybe something I could do with this? Okay. I have some new instructors. My one student, Jess, up in Colorado, he's got a group he's training. So every week his Zoom class starts with, this week starts with him asking me a question about something that went on in the class. Hey, what's the best way to teach this? Sensei, this question came up. So again, same thing with my student in London, Ray, who studies Chen style Tai Chi Chuan practical method with me, long-term Ishinru student, does Mariyoshi, done some other stuff with me, okay? He teaches seniors. And he'll say, hey, Sensei, if I wanted to introduce them some push hands, what would be a good way to introduce? So it's not only am I assisting them in their own martial skill, their own martial ability, and hoping that they'll be elevated more, but I can also answer their questions on how to teach a certain subject. Or what should be my approach in teaching this? Is there an introductory way to do this? Okay, I have some senior people. Like, how can I turn up the heat? Like, how can I make that work them a little harder with some drills they can do? So it's not just about developing the person's physical skill. It's about also helping them to become better teachers. So a lot of the people that train with me that are also teach, they're also asking me, well, how should I approach this subject? How should I teach it? And then I can give them advice on how to do that. So, but there's no question that I think Zoom classes are here to stay. I'm even seeing some Okinawan masters now are offering them, which I don't think is a bad idea. I think it'll be good for them because, frankly, a lot of times they have a tendency to focus on too many basics. You go to a seminar with Okinawan masters, and a lot of times it's basics, and more basics. Okay, folks, I'm training a long time. I want more meat than potatoes. So if I go to a seminar, so hopefully maybe with the Okinawans teaching foreigners more via Zoom, maybe they'll realize they have to step up their game a little bit on what they're going to teach. All right. I just returned from teaching my seminars. I want feedback. I want people to tell me, was it good? Was it bad? Everybody seemed to like the format we did this time, which was a faster paced format. Lot of techniques in terms of self-defense, that kind of stuff, in terms of fighting application, different things. So people seem to like it. Master Chen Zhanghua comes in and teaches a Taiji workshop. We never go, this is getting old. Never. It's always like, this never gets old. Like there's always something. He always comes at it from a different perspective, and now we're getting something out of it. You have to take the same approach with the Zoom classes. So, a lot of times I'll come on, and if it's a guy who does multiple arts with me, I'll come on that day and he'll say, hey, could we review this? Sure. Can we review that? Sure. One of my superpowers is I have a really good memory when it comes to martial arts. So it's not like I have to say, oh, let me walk through that kata a couple of times. No, they're all in the Calandra head. I just have to go to that compartment that's in my head and open that door so I can go right into that art. So in that regard, Zoom has been good for me too, because sometimes I come on and the guy might say, hey, I thought maybe we'd take a break from this and maybe do this. And, I can't go, oh, well, hold on a second. Give me 5 minutes. I want to walk through that kata 5 times. No, I just go. Let's go. Yeah, man. Okay, you want to do that? We'll do that. And let's get cooking on that. And it's been interesting because certain forms are more difficult to teach, obviously via Zoom, than they are in person, which has been great for me because it forces me to figure out how to teach that form, where the guy can see it and do it and picks it up, where it's not where I just do it and he's got to follow along. Well, what if he's having a hard time following along? Okay, I'm the instructor. It's on me. Mike, figure it out. Present the material in a way where the student can get it. I don't think it'll ever replace real one-on-one instruction. I think that's foolish. Anybody that suggests that, I think is living in a fantasy world. Instruction in the room, in person, where I'm throwing punches at you, you're throwing punches at me, I'm swinging a weapon at your head, you're swinging a weapon at my head, that's the way to go. But again, right now I do Zoom classes with people in New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Michigan, Colorado, 2 people in the UK, 1 person in India, Florida, Alabama. I'm sure I'm leaving some out. Okay. Pennsylvania. So that's a lot of people all over the world, right? 2 in the UK, 1 in India, all over the United States. For a while, I was doing them with a guy up in Canada. So it's been rewarding, I think, because again, I'm getting to help someone that's not close to me, but that really wants to train. So if that person's taken the time to try to learn via Zoom, I want to reward them for that time, meaning I want to instruct them. I want to help them to get better, And then if they get to a certain level of ability and they come out here and I look at them, yeah, they might get promoted, okay? A couple of the guys that do Matayoshi have been promoted in the Q grades in Matayoshi. They're not ready for black belt yet, been promoted in the Q grades. So it's good. And again, it's great that people want to put the effort in. If they're willing to put that effort in and schedule that time, I mean, why shouldn't I do it? And it's great for me too. I mean, look, it's a little extra income for me. I'm retired, right? So that little bit of extra income is great. All right. Again, I appreciate it. But again, I think people that knock Zoom classes right away, I think are making a mistake. I think unless you have experience doing it, and like now I have a lot of experience. I'm doing it 6 years, okay? Again, many every week. This morning, I already did one before I filmed this podcast. And when I'm done filming this podcast, another hour and a half, I'll have another one. Tomorrow, I have 3, okay? So again, it's, so don't think I'm sitting around. That's why I'm working. You add up all the amount of hours I'm teaching Zoom classes in a week and then my regular classes, it's a lot of work, right? So I'm retired from my original job, but I'm not retired from actually working, but it's the thing I love. I'm teaching martial arts. So if I can teach it in person, great. If I can teach it via Zoom, great. If I can teach it in a seminar format and come and visit a school, great. I think they're all viable ways to learn. Hope you've enjoyed this one. I'm a big fan of Zoom classes now, as you can tell. They won't replace in-person instruction, but I think they do have a place. If people are interested in me doing a group Zoom class on anything, okay, I'd be happy to do that. Let me know in the comments. Contact me privately. If maybe you have an Ishinru school and one night you want to set it up where you have your students there and we do a Zoom thing, great. Be more than happy to do it. All right. Please click that like, share, subscribe button. Consider becoming a monthly member. Okay. Don't forget about the seminar in Virginia, right? Another one of my guys is going, so we got even more people going from our group, which is great. And I'll see you guys in the next podcast. Take care.